What's up, family? Man, I bless each and every one of you. May God continue to guide you, comfort you, and aid you in your growth and development, as well as the healing stages of your life. Family, man, we got to grow up. We have to grow up emotionally. I'll share a dream with you guys that I had 12 years ago. Man, I was living in California at the time. I was married to a beautiful young lady who since transitioned out of this realm, beautiful soul. The dream was, for whatever reason, I was in charge of this large military, and it was different. It was weird because it's like we're in the South somewhere, right? Because I remember being at this big plantation house. The rains was coming, and we had to get to this house to get all the ammunition and all the stuff out of the weather, out of the storm. And so we're pulling everything inside this big abandoned house, like a Victorian house, or what do you call those, like those old mansions you see in the South. And so there's wooded areas all around, huge front area. And so we had soldiers. I'm telling everybody where to go and what to do, right? Giving everybody their positions. And we were in battle. And at the time, there was a reprieve. There was no fighting going on at the time. And so I had soldiers all out front, on guard, on alert. I had soldiers going around the back of the wooded area on both sides because I expected, me and the other generals, we expected the troops to come in, the enemy to come in from the front, and we expected someone to try to flank us and come around the back. And so everybody has their positions, and so I'm upstairs, and we're able to look out over the balcony, and the soldiers came in, the enemy came in, and they were fighting the troops on the ground. And we're up top, and we're on the balcony. We're able to look out over the battle scene. And I'm talking to the other generals, my people that's working with me, and I'm telling them, this is what we need to do. We'll do it the whoop. And we got all the injured down in the basement. We have the doctors and the nurses down in the basement tending to the wounded soldiers. And the battle is going on up front, and it's a hectic battle. But I know that, man, I got soldiers coming around this side, and I got soldiers coming around this side. Because from my view, we could see that they didn't send their whole troops. You know what I mean? We could see that they didn't send their whole army. They just sent a small regiment. And there's another group out here, just waiting for the battle, just waiting for the sign. And they were going to attack. And so I'm like, okay, I see y'all. Y'all ain't slick. Stay with me. I'm going somewhere. I promise you. And my wife at the time was like, man, we need to be down there fighting and and helping the guys out. And I'm trying to tell her, it's like, nah, babe, no. This is what we need to do. We're talking about stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. And so she's like, man, I feel like I'm not doing anything. What can I do? And so I'm telling her, I said, babe, this is what I need you to do. I need you to be downstairs right here and just alert, just watching, you know what I mean? Just in case somebody sneaks from around, just in case somebody sneaks in, you could take them out. Man, I need you to be here. I need you to be on this post right here. I need you to watch this for me. And she's mad and frustrated because she want to be out in the battle. And I'm telling her, babe, no, I need you right here. I need to know without a shadow of doubt that my right hand, you got my back. You're not going to allow somebody to sneak upstairs and blow us up. You're not going to allow somebody to sneak downstairs and kill the doctors and the wounded and all those other people. You're going to do what you got to do. So I need to know that, man, we're good. And I know we're good because you're down here on alert. You're down here watching guard. You're down here keeping an eye out for us. And so we leave her downstairs and we go back upstairs. And I'm talking and I'm strategizing with the other generals and stuff and telling them what we need to do and da-da-da-da. And one of the guys come yelling to me, it's like, your wife's out on the battlefield. I'm like, no, she's downstairs watching. And they're like, no, she's on the battlefield. And so we're looking out on the battlefield, and I'm looking, trying to see where she's at. And so I'm telling them, they showed me where she's at, and I was like, oh my God, we got to go get her. And as soon as I say that, we turn around and we started running towards the stairs. This lady had came up, snuck in the house. She had hand grenades strapped to her that she was going to just start throwing where all of us was at. We were able to rush her and grab her and stop her from blowing us all up. And I'm sitting there and the tears are running down my eyes because my wife abandoned her post. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere, I promise you. She left her post because she didn't think it was important enough. She left her post because she would much rather be out on the battlefield. She thought we was punks and cowards because we wasn't out there fighting. So she left her post and left every one of us vulnerable. She left her post, left all the wounded and the doctors and the nurses vulnerable to attack. She left her post and left the command vulnerable for attack. And this lady was able to sneak in because my wife wasn't on her post. So we get her. Soldiers run out, they grab her and bring her back in. And she's mad as she's coming back in. And she sees this lady that we have handcuffed behind her back and down on her knees. And she's like, who's this? And she's like going off on who this woman is. And they bring me my wife. And I'm having to explain to her that this lady snuck in. And this is all the ammunition that she had with her. The hand grenades, the handguns that she had on her. That she could have eliminated every one of us in that building. Because the person that was supposed to be watching guard, the person that was supposed to be looking out for everybody, didn't think that was an important job. The person that we left in charge of the whole safety and security of that whole house didn't think that job was important enough. And they abandoned their responsibility to run out onto the field. I bring my wife upstairs. And I show her the enemy out behind the trees. And I'm showing her that we got a group that's coming around, that's going to come up behind them. And we have another group coming around this way. The battle went on for a while. And it finally ended. We surrounded them. They all gave up. We took them all captive. The next morning, we get up. Me and some of the soldiers and the generals were walking. And we're just looking at the damage. We're looking at all the casualties, and we're collecting the wounded soldiers and the dead soldiers. And we're just walking down through the towns and just the area of where the battle took place. And all the villagers, they're all out and they're doing what they normally do. Because they knew the battle was over. They knew they were safe. They could go back to business as usual. They knew that everything was good. Man, they got up their little shops and they're cooking food and they're selling different things and they got teas going and all these different things. It was business as usual for them because they felt safe. It was business as usual for them because they'd been protected. They knew that the enemy had been captured. They knew the enemy had been stopped. And so they were up early in the morning, celebrating, up early in the morning, excited that they could go on with their lives. And so we're walking in this elderly man, and his wife comes running up to me, and my wife is right there next to me with this other generals and stuff, and they're running up and they're congratulating us on such a beautiful victory. They're congratulating us on a fast victory. They're congratulating us and thanking us for saving their community. They're congratulating us and thanking us, and the tears are coming down, and they're so thankful and humble that they ain't gonna die. That they're not going to be taken captive and sold. That they're not going to have to watch their kids murdered and their grandkids murdered. That they can continue on with their lives. Because we stood up to the enemy. Because we defeated the enemy. And the tears are coming down my wife's face as these people are running up and congratulating us and hugging us and thanking us. The tears are running down her eyes. Because she knows that it almost didn't end that way. She knows that the outcome could have been very different. Stay in your lane. See, so many of us, we get so caught up on our ego. We get so caught up on the glamour and the lights and the attention, and we want the praise, and we want to be out front, and we want all these accolades, and we want people to see us, and we want people to know it's our plan, and we want all this stupid shit. That's all ego. That's ego. Stay in your lane. What purpose has God given you? See, so many of us, we want to do so much more. So many of us, we want a huge platform because we want all the attention. We want a huge platform. We want all these subscribers because we want people to see us. We want people to see how great we are. We want people to see, man, they're so deep and so smart, so articulate. Man, they sing so well. Man, they dance so good. Man, they're so pretty. Man, they're so fine. We want all this fucking shit. But what's the purpose you're here? Why are you here? What job do you have? Are you humble enough to stay in your motherfucking lane and do what God has called you to do? Or are you stuck in your fucking ego? We got to grow the fuck up emotionally. We got to understand who we are and why we're here. This is not about who gets the praise. See, because the battle would have never been won had the soldiers not went out and did what they did. You got to catch that. It took every one of us to win that battle. It took every one of our soldiers that was out on the front line, fighting, those that gave up their lives, those that got injured. It took every single one of us. It took me and the generals up there planning and strategizing. It took every one of us to make that victory happen. Don't get so arrogant and so narcissistic that it's all about you. Don't get so stuck on yourself that you think you can do all this shit all by your motherfucking self. We got to grow the fuck up emotionally. And I get it. You may have your own business. But I promise you, you didn't do all that by your motherfucking self. And what I mean by that, it's been other people that's sown into you. It's been other people that have written books and put out information that you didn't know and you had to learn. And you were able to learn by watching their videos. You were able to learn by looking at their books. You were able to learn by sitting in their classroom. You were able to learn because somebody took an interest in you. Somebody took you up under their wings. Somebody showed you the ropes. So you don't do all this shit all by your motherfucking self. There's always others helping you reach your full potential. There's always others. We got to grow up. We got to understand that, man, we're all intricately connected. We need each other. I needed all the drama and the pain and the suffering and the abandonment and the rejections. I needed the heartbreaks and everything else that I went through in my past to be who I am today. I couldn't be who I am today had I not went through all the hell I went through. I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be me today if I didn't have all the people that I picked and learned some shit from. I wouldn't be here today had I not watched others make mistakes and learn from their mistakes. I wouldn't be me if I hadn't read all the books I've read. If I hadn't studied all the other material I had. If I hadn't talked to all the people that I've talked to. We got to grow up. We have to grow up. Man. Hope and pray that says something to encourage you, to inspire you. I love you guys. Happy healing. Peace.